All right. So, welcome to Sales Maker Secrets. And we're going to do a little live stream here and we're going to cover some basic, do some Q&A, but also talk about some sales and marketing things in general. What I'm going to do real quick is I'm just going to get some of the basic questions out of the archive on things that I've been asked in the past so that we can look at just kind of sales in general. So as we continue deeper down these conversations, I think the important thing to understand is the intentions of a channel like this is to help you be able to make more money, but it's also to help you do it in a way that you feel proud of, a way that you can create a life that's meaningful for you, and ultimately gather the resources to take care of yourself and live a lifestyle that you like, along with giving back to society. So I've been in sales for over 20 years, and I think that this is a good opportunity for me to teach you a few things that will help yourself improve your sales skills. I think the magic behind sales in general is it's never a game that's finished. It's never a game that we know every little trick, but every time we learn something, we can immediately go and execute something new and see how it impacts our ability to make money and to serve people. So let's grab some of those questions. And so we grab the question. We're going to just grab the top 10 out of my my previous ones. And obviously, this is going to be my first live stream on YouTube, so it's kind of cool just to see how this whole thing works. Right now, I'm doing a stream through OBS, so hopefully, if I need to, I could switch back and forth between my different camera angles. And that will just let us have like a good interaction where if I need to draw something out for you, I can. And then I believe, yeah, I got a little chat box here. Cool. So if you are watching, like hit me up at the chat. Drop you hello. Awesome. So I got the chat box going. Leave that up there in the top left. And all right, let's go ahead and we'll start with we'll do a top 10 questions for sales in general. One of the questions I get a lot is, if I've been in sales for so long, what's like the one thing that is the most impactful thing that I ever learned? Like, what's the best thing that you can give me, right? The best thing that I can teach people about sales in general is the first thing we have to understand is the intention of the sale itself. And I think people misinterpret what the sale is or what selling is. A lot of times we want the outcome to just be around the transaction. Like, did I close? Did I make money? And I think that's the wrong way to think about it. When the intention of the sale, when we understand what sales is as a service, we are literally in the business of helping people make a decision. That's it. We're not trying to force a yes. We're not trying to sell something to somebody that doesn't need it. We are literally trying to help them make a decision that will improve their life personally or professionally. And when we understand that intention, it changes everything about how we view sales as a whole and the interaction between us and a potential client or customer. Because if we know that that's true, that's what we're trying to do, is help them make a decision. Now there's no pressure to close or not. It's a question of whether or not it's better for them if they close or not. And then that's when we can apply potential persuasion or different techniques to help people say yes if it's right for them, because everybody's default answer is no, just because that's how we protect ourselves. So I think that's the most impactful thing. If we could preface everything about what I will teach you with the intention of the sale is not to close, but it's simply to help somebody make a definitive decision. Will this improve my lifestyle? Yes. Will it impact me professionally or personally in a positive way? If so, then I should say yes to the situation. All right. Next question. Let's go ahead and knock this out. How do I find and qualify good leads efficiently? Oh gosh, I'm going to start with a big question. So the first thing that I think everybody will go to is, how do I get more traffic? And I want to just, we'll come back to this later, but let's go. Most of the time we don't have a traffic problem because we can buy traffic. So finding leads is actually pretty easy. That's just going to go have conversations either organically or through social media, and create a pipeline, use some kind of software or lead capture system to get people to exchange their information to you. Or, which is a lot easier, is to actually just pay for ads. And then when you pay for ads, most people measure an ad success based off of how cheap of a lead can I get, and how many did I get. But really, that's in the advertising process. You should have the qualifications built into it. So that's how you can find and qualify good leads efficiently, is paid advertising. Paid advertising is made up of two different things. You always have what's called the creative, which is the picture and the image that somebody goes through, and the copy, which is the text. And there has to be a process on the back end of like what happens with the advertisement. You have traditional advertising. Traditional advertising be like, I'm going to put a billboard on the side of the road, and I'm going to say, hey, I'm Matthew and I do X, Y, or Z. Give me a call if you're interested, right? Whatever the billboard says, right? But it's simply a business number, and I have no way to track whether that advertising is working or not. But I do have a call to action, so I can drive traffic into my business. It's traditional advertising because it doesn't have the metrics that will show it. Unless it's a dedicated phone number just for that billboard that you can measure traffic coming in based on what it's doing, then it just becomes traditional advertising where you're trying to just exposing yourself and trying to increase traffic, but you don't have a way to figure out where it's coming from. I would always make sure there's a specific, every piece of advertising has its own specific pipeline that can be tracked on the back end to see where is my traffic coming from. One, because I want to see if it's effective for getting leads. And two, if I have traffic coming in from a specific source all the time and the leads are trash, maybe it's the advertising placement, or maybe it's the advertising creative or copy itself that's drawing in the wrong crowd. And I can make those adjustments accordingly. Or I might, if I can't figure it out in that area, it might be warranted to shut down that advertising and move it to somewhere else, whether it's taking yourself off of one platform and moving yourself to another. A good example is like a lot of fitness people will have more success on Facebook and Instagram than they will on YouTube or Google ad search, or search word searches. So changing platforms and location would be, that's identifying your market. But paid advertising is the easiest way, not gonna lie. Boots on the ground, going out and talking to people would be the other one. If you want to have qualified leads, depending on what you sell, I would literally see how many face-to-face conversations you can have until you have enough money where you can pay for advertising, or do both. Yeah. Next question, what is the best way to open a cold call or a cold DM or a cold email? The easiest way is that I know to do a cold call. So if it's outbound, the first thing I'm always doing is making sure that I'm not really reading a script to start off with. And I'm always asking questions. It's like, hey, is this business? And it's going to be about like your tone that you place into it. Same thing for an email. If it's cold outbound email, guys, it has to feel like it's personal in some way. And it's got to be short, to the point, and ultimately have a quick, like, just get a reply. Like your goal is not to sell it on the first 2 sentences. So if you're asking to speak to a decision maker in a business as your first opening line, you're probably going to get a lot of resistance, right? But if you open a conversation in a cold call and your goal is to see if they're going to talk to you, it's like, hey, is this this business? Who am I speaking with? Okay, I'm not really sure if I'm have the right person, but let me just kind of give you a reason why I'm calling. I'm calling because I think there's a thing that I saw on your website or whatever it might be, or maybe even I was calling to inquire about your services. And if you're trying to sell a business or a prospect something, the best thing you can probably start off with is asking about them. Like, what are they doing? What is their service or whatever they provide for B2B? And for B2C, it would be more of like, how was your day? How was your weekend? I noticed that you inquired about fitness stuff in the past. Are you still doing that? Trying to ask them the qualifying questions up front before you start pushing things down their throat as far as what you want. Number 3 is, how can I handle objections confidently? This is a fun one. In sales, I always felt like I hated the words overcoming objections, because I felt like I was going to have to arm wrestle somebody into saying yes. And I would always just envision myself on the other side and be like, I would hate to be that person in that situation where, like, I tell no to somebody and they just keep pushing me, right? And it makes me feel uncomfortable. And as a salesperson, I always envisioned like me being that person. I'm like, I can't do this. It wasn't until I changed my framing and go back to what we said earlier. The intention of the sale is not to force a close. And overcoming objections is not actually overcoming objections. It's a process of, did you ask for the sale confidently? Did you isolate any objections and figure out which ones were real? And then did you resolve that true objection? So I'll give you an example. So the first thing that we do with closing is we screw up and we don't ask for a close confidently. We go, hey, did you want to get that one? Or something like, well, did you want to get the red one or the blue one? And the better way to do it is say, hey, John, I just wanted to say, I think you're going to love this solution that we put together for you. It feels like it's a great fit for you. And I'm actually kind of jealous that you get to take this home and I don't. Did you want the red or the blue one? And you deliver the fact that everything you went through for this point, you believe that this is the right thing for this person. And if it's true in your heart, it will come through that way. Like, I think you are going to love this thing. And I'm actually kind of disappointed that I don't get to take this home for you. And that first initial ask for the close is going to give you that much more confidence behind it. You might increase your close rate just by asking with confidence versus just asking like, oh, did you want that? It's a very weak close, because if you're not confident if they want it, then why should they be confident that they want it? Next is the isolation. So we have 3 main things that we deal with objections most of the time. It's either going to be time bound, like the objection is like, I don't have the time right now, or I got to wait till payday. They're going to push off the decision, right? The second one is going to be money, like, oh, it's too expensive, I don't know if it's worth it. Or they're the classic, like, I got to talk to the spouse, like, I got to talk to my significant other, or I got to talk to my business partner, or whatever it might be. They're going to put the blame either later, they're going to put it on somebody else, or they're going to establish the fact that they don't really want to spend that much money. And then that's when folks will get like sideways, and we have to realize that those are smoke screens, first off. If they're not, that's okay. We just have to isolate what is the true objection. So what we do, instead of combating somebody or getting defensive ourselves, we're like, well, it's not that expensive, right? We could do something along the lines of, the isolation question would be, first we empathize with what they said, agree with them, and then empathize. I use 2-part empathy. I understand you, me too. That shows like a connection. And then move past it with something more specific, right? So a good example is like, hell, I gotta talk to my wife and I'll let you know. I was like, okay, cool. No worries. I gotta talk to my wife too whenever I make big decisions like this. Otherwise I'd be sleeping in the doghouse for a week. Just curious, when you take this back to your wife, what do you think specifically she would change about this deal to help make it work for her? And then we can find out if there's something specific that they can point out and be like, I don't really think they're going to go for that. Or we kind of talked about like our down payment needs to be a little bit less, whatever it might be. And if you can find the true objection by asking specifically, like, oh, I understand you have to wait until Friday payday. Cool, no problem. When payday comes around and you're ready to get started, what specifically would you change that would keep you, or what specifically is wrong with this package that would keep you from doing it on a Friday? Or what specifically would you change to move forward if it was possible? And that will usually get people to like give you the real thing. well, hey, can you break it up into monthly payments? It was a lot more than I thought. As we go through this closing process, it's important that we have like some relationship with the reason that they're objecting is usually because of a lack of information or a lack of understanding. It's they either don't trust you or you didn't build enough perception and value, right? There's something missing on your end. And I think that's important because instead of dropping our prices and trying to feel desperate, we have to like identify what is the thing that we might have missed. And, or in this case, if it's something specific, like, hey, can you break it up into monthly payments is very common in a lot of my sales conversations. And I can break them up into monthly payments. I would go, what's other than outside of those things, what specifically is holding you back from getting started today? Well, it's a lot of money down. Oh yeah, it is a lot of money down. I completely agree. If I can break it up into monthly payments to make it a little bit more affordable for you, would that help you get started today, just to give you kind of like peace of mind and like make it easier? And that will usually help. So that's the resolution. So the last thing, after you isolate what the real problem is, you put a resolution to it. If you can fix that true objection and have it be beneficial for both you and the customer, and you're not like losing money or doing something silly from a business decision standpoint, usually it would be a close. If you cannot resolve the problem or the objection that they've given you, then it's going to be really difficult because you've exposed or isolated their true objection, but you can't resolve it. Therefore, it's still going to be the objection. There's going to be no logical reason to move forward if they're still concerned about it. So that's what we want to do. We want you to ask with confidence, isolate the real true objection, and then if we can resolve that. And the classic framework that we can use for resolving is once I identify the true objection, I can say, if I can do X, Y, or Z to get rid of that objection, is that good enough to get started today? So if I can, will you is the framework. How do you build rapport quickly with prospects? Oh my gosh, this is so easy. Be human, guys. Like, be a human being. Genuinely curious and genuinely have a conversation. It is that easy. Like, don't worry about your turn to speak. When you're asking questions, listen to the response, write it down, and ask like a follow-up question. I use like a lot of small talk. Whenever you feel things going sideways, you have to throw in some small talk about things that are important to them. So the first thing you need to do is ask some questions about them and find out what's important to them. What do you like to do for fun? What'd you do last weekend? How's the family doing? Like, learn where some of their priorities lie so that you can pull that stuff into the conversation along the way. And if you ever feel like the conversation is heavily weighted on, like, we're talking a lot about the product or service and things feel like they're getting very unpersonal, bring some personal stuff back into it and talk to them as if they are your friend or grandparent or somebody you care about. Like, be a good human being. You'll hear me say this if you watch my videos long enough. You'll hear me talk about, do not let the world of selling prevent you from being a good human being. It is that simple. Too many people look at sales as like this objective to take money from people. Sales is a fantastic service that allows us to serve people. We're helping people improve their life by helping them make decisions and connecting them with products and services that will impact their life in a positive way. Be a good human. Stop being greedy. Jeez. It will help you with patience too. Like, slow things down. That's probably one of the best other ways to build rapport. Like, slow down. Like, stop trying to get to the finish line so fast. What's the right way to ask for the sale? Oh, we just did that. Yeah, ask with confidence. Hey, based on everything we went through today, these are the things I'm like recommending for you. I think that you're gonna love this solution. I am super jealous that you get to take it home, or I am super excited for you. I can't wait to see how it works out for you. Did you want option A or B? Did you want to pay with Visa or MasterCard? Or after that, you could just say, are you ready to get it done? Are you ready to knock this out? Um, how should I structure my sales pitch or demo? Ooh, this one comes up a lot with I do a lot of service-based businesses. Structuring your pitch is kind of like so there's two different things. The pitch is part of the sales script. So you have the script of sales, which is build a connection with somebody, going through a discovery process, asking questions, get to know them, find out why this thing is going to work with them and be important. And the pitch has to be done in a way that makes sense. It has to be digestible. So here's a good example of a pitch, a bad pitch and a good pitch. You can just look at the structural difference. The first one is, hey, I have this program, X, Y, or Z, right? And this is what it does. We're going to go through a fitness program, and it's going to be 12 weeks long. And this is how much it's going to be, but we're going to go through and we're going to do workouts. I'm going to give you check-ins every week. And then I'll build you a meal plan that you can follow. And then you get my access to me 24/7 through a text message. That's a trash like pitch because the offer is so bland. It's feature-based and there's no clear direction as to what's really going to happen. Versus if I did the same pitch and I said, all right, so I got a 12-week program. There's 3 different phases. What we're going to do is we're going to do what's called, we're going to spend the first couple of days doing a diagnostic and kind of like under the hood checks to make sure that we're good to go. So I got some questionnaires you're going to fill out. We're going to do a little movement test, movement screen, and then I have you fill out some disclaimer stuff to make sure we're good to go. And then we're going to go into the first phase, which is like the reset phase, right? So we're going to do a reset. We're going to get into the nutrition and we're going to build you a meal plan specific for this. And then I'm going to help guide you through different options that will help build the consistency for you. And then phase 2 is usually like 2 to 3 weeks in. We're going to switch to the accelerator phase. That's where we're going to really dial in discipline. Now that we have all the back end structure figured out, we can really focus on getting the results and just get that going. And the last phase we're going to go through is the integration phase, because you don't want to be in a fitness journey for the rest of your life. So we're going to pull back on the calories, get a little bit more, less food tracking and more just lifestyle integration. So that way, when the program ends, you feel like you have some ability to just manage this on your own and you're not dependent on me for the rest of your life. 3 different phases, all part of the program. And this is the way that we're going to break it up. We have this option as far as payment goes and this option as far as payment goes. Which one sounds good to you, right? The difference is I never sold the features of what we were doing because that stuff is kind of irrelevant. People aren't buying the features. They're not buying the one-on-one check-in every week. They're not buying the meal plan. What they're buying is the result. One, we're going to reset your metabolism. We're going to do a metabolic restoration. We're going to do a accelerator phase to really shred that fat down and like make you look the way you want to look and feel how you want to feel. And then the biggest fear is that I can't sustain this for the rest of my life. So we're going to integrate it into your lifestyle. And now I can feel like this is a process that I can follow and the results I'm going to get. All the other features don't really matter. And then if anybody asks like what's included, like everything that you need to be successful, and we can break it down if we have to, but that's how I would structure a pitch. So notice what I did. I didn't do feature-based. I talked a lot about the benefits and I phased it out. I showed somebody a journey that they would go through and kind of talked about the results that would be different in their life. That's how I would be thinking about pitches. Let's move on. What is the right way to ask for sale? What should we structure my pitch? How do I manage time and prioritize tasks effectively? As a salesperson, one of the biggest things that we can do is what I call time boxing. It's literally just having a solid schedule that you can follow on a consistent basis. If you do not have a calendar, I have a big, you can't see my calendar, but it's a big one on the desk. And then everything that I have is written out. And then I also have my digital calendar, and everything by the hour, it's kind of just, it's there. It's on the sheet. So if I have a live event at 2:00 every day, it's on my calendar. If right before that I have my gym session that I have to go hit up, it's on my calendar. If I'm doing a morning routine with the dogs, it's on my calendar. And I box off time. First off, it's like having a daily rhythm like that. The second thing is you can box off time on a weekly basis. So if you have content that you're creating or a larger task, don't break it up across a bunch of days. Get it all done in one day. If you need to go, like, here's for salespeople, if you have a day, if doing boots on the ground, right, out face to face, having conversations with people, and then you have some back end work with your business where you have to do some marketing and advertising, and then you have some service work you have to do. You wouldn't want to break it up into like, I'm going to do boots on the ground for 2 hours in the morning, and then I'm going to come back, I'm doing my service work, and then I'm going to finish up with marketing and advertising. What you would probably want to do is dedicate one day to boots on the ground, or maybe half a day to boots on the ground, then do another half a day of something else, and try to keep these big blocks so that you can get into a flow. Each task should, ideally, I mean, in a perfect world, there's not going to be like a direct answer because everybody's life's a little bit different. But I usually find like 2 to 3 hour blocks of like specific tasks in a certain direction help out. 1 hour is way too short for me. By the time I get into the task, I'm trying to switch gears and go to another task, and then the downtime and the flow is just not there. So time boxing, I believe there's a couple of cool YouTube videos you can watch on time boxing. And if you need a time boxing sheet, let me know. I got some custom ones that I made on Google Sheets, and you just swap the logo or whatever. What CRM habits will help me stay organized and productive? This is so easy. Use the dang thing. Like, if you're on a phone call, take notes in your CRM. Don't take notes on a piece of paper and try to have notebooks and everything all over the place. Like, try to keep everything in your CRM. And this might be a shameless plug, but if you're using a CRM, use something like ours so that everything's in the same dang space versus like having to log into 6 different places to like track people and do things, right? So here's a good example is don't be texting people from your phone and then emailing them separate. Like, you want that to be integrated so that when you're looking at conversations on a specific person, you're already in the system and you already have access to it. And if you have a conversation on the phone, type the notes. If you have somebody says, I'll think about it, put that in the notes. Like, be specific, take as many notes and keep track of it all in the same system. I just find that most people that want to stay organized, they just use too many tools and it's all over the dang place. I can say that I was a victim for that for a long time, and I still manage that because I like to write stuff down. So I have like a Remarkable where I write stuff down, and then I keep all my client stuff in here as far as like when I'm talking to somebody and writing down specific notes. And then I'll usually have a note in the CRM around what we like, the action items that we put together. That way it's very like clean cut. I don't have to bounce around all the time. What metrics should I track to know if I'm improving? So there's 2 types of metrics to think about. You have leading indicators and lagging indicators. Leading indicators, if we look at like a football game, think about a football game for a second. Leading indicators are like, how many first downs did my team get? What was the time of possession? How many runs versus how many passes? How many fumbles? Like, those things will indicate whether or not there's a likelihood that they're going to win the game, right? Those are leading indicators because they tell us a story where we can kind of predict what's going to happen. The lagging indicator is the result. It's the scoreboard in that example. Like, that's the measurement of success. So the metrics that you should track should be a set of inputs and a set of outputs. Your measurement for success to know if you are improving is the lagging indicator, but you can pull that through to something ahead of time that might be educated in how it's done, right? So a good example is if I generated on my last campaign 19 leads and I got 4 appointments and I got 2 sales, that shows me, based on the math, that I have an X close rate and my success rate is whatever it is, right? If I want to improve the back end number, I have to close more sales. I can do that through multiple different things, I can have a higher close rate with the people that I talk to, or I can talk about the volume coming in. I could simply say, do I need more leads? Do I need more appointments? Do I need more shows? Do I need more closes? And what you'll do is look at the constraint of your KPIs and figure out, based on the industry, based on your offer, your confidence level, which one can you confidently go impact the most? And what's the math on the lagging indicator? How much revenue and profitability would it get you? So if I know, well, I can easily just spend more money on ads, but if I increase the ad spend by times 10 and I still have a low conversion to booking appointments, that might mathematically not work up, even though I'm very confident that I can just increase ad spend. So what I might do instead is I might go, well, let's investigate this point and go, what's the KPIs? Like, could I get 2 more people to book calls if I personalize the conversations a little bit more and invested some time? Yeah, I could. So now I can go action item that, put it into strategy and see if I can do that. You should always know things like, one, you should know your total revenue and profitability, so your P&L. So you have revenue, which is your total money coming into the till. Profitability is when you take out cost of goods or cost of services, and the profit is what's left over. So things like payroll, everything needs to come out. And then your leading indicators would be things like the cost to acquire a client. You need to understand your lifetime value of a client, like how long do they stay with you, how much money do they typically spend, and those conversion rates of the pipeline. I think the first thing that most people need to do is literally set up a legitimate pipeline for your business and have the metrics of each checkpoint so they understand where it's at. Some people might be measuring success by trying to grow an audience and be like, I got views. We call those vanity metrics. I wouldn't be spending a whole lot of time really trying to figure out like the algorithms in social media. I'd be more like, how many posts did I do and how many leads did I get? Right? Versus going, how many views did my post get? Because it doesn't really matter. You get 1 million views and then nobody signs up for anything. You got a different problem. But how many engagements are you getting out there, and how many leads are you getting based on the effort and work that you're putting in? Because that's the part that you can change, right? And then always measure based off the actual scoreboard, because the other stuff could just be ways to justify us feeling good about it. When I worked in retail, I was really good at, if the business had a bad month, literally just talking about like what you could find on the scorecard that was good, right? It works against you sometimes mentally, because if let's say the business is, let's say down 2 points year over year, 2%, it's not good. But we can look for things on the scorecard to figure out like, well, this is good. We like employee engagement's up, or like, hey, like attachment rate on this is up, but the business is still decaying. So that's just a way to justify and make ourselves feel better. The other way, it can also keep us protected in the other way, is we could say the business is growing, but somebody might point out that the attachment rate on X, Y, or Z is lower. Like, cool, it's good to know. We can address it. We can do some research on it, but the business is growing. So there's a positive direction and focus on that as well. Last one is, how can I learn from the top performing salespeople on my team? It's just easy. Listen to them. Take notes. Show some humility. Know that it definitely, indefinitely, like you are not the best salesperson, and they are not the best salesperson. There's always room for growth. Listening to other people's conversations, though, you should be taking notes and then trying and testing things that they are doing. Specifically, try to pull down their language at different parts of the sale. See how consistent they are. I think we all have different communication skill levels as we go through life and just figure out how to communicate as human beings. But most really good salespeople, they heard somebody say something and then they tried it. And the stuff that worked, they kept doing. And that's how they built their own method and script, and the way that they do it is based off of a conglomeration of what they learn from other people. And the best way that you can learn what works is to listen to other people that are good. And you'll hear different things. Every time you listen to them, you'll hear something different. My biggest thing would be listen, be humble, write the shit down. Like, you need to write things down or you will forget. Use scripts and apply it and practice it. The first time you read a script, it's rough, but that's how we get better. All right, cool. Well, that was the first real live. Who even knows if this recorded or not, but that's the glory of technology and just pushing through. I want to say, if you did watch this and you got this far, thank you so much for being here and listening. I would love for you to leave me a comment or any other topics or questions that you have for me in the comment section. I'd be happy to address things in the future. Visit my main website, miriac.com, or hit me up on Salesmaker Secrets on Instagram, whatever you want to do. Most importantly, thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And I look forward to seeing you again in the future. 2:00 tomorrow? Yeah, let's try it.